Hello again, everyone. It's a beautiful spring or late winter day here. I'm in the back 40 at my log chainsaw testing area, and I'm going to do the part 2 to my Stihl versus Husky chainsaw test. We have two very similar chainsaws. A Stihl MS180C. It's an 82cc chainsaw. It features a 14-inch sprocket nose bar with 3/8 pitch 043 gauge, I think, chain. Brand new. I've only used it to cut a couple vines, so it's pretty much brand new right out of the box. It has the Easy Start, Elasto Start, I think it's called, starter handle. Chain brake, of course, and one of my favorite features is the all-in-one control unit. You know, run, stop, choke, half choke. And the second saw is the Husqvarna 142E series. It has a 16-inch bar and chain. Same chain. I think it's a different brand, but it's the 3/8 pitch 043 gauge, and the bar also has a sprocket nose like most bars these days. It's actually a little bit loose, but oh well. Brand new right out of the box. I've only done one cut with it on this cedar. So these are both brand new chains, essentially. The Husqvarna also seems to have some sort of a Elasto Start sort of starting feature, but I don't think it's as smooth as the Stihl. The Stihl, you pull it out really far, and then it finally disengages and boom, turns the motor over a couple times. The Husky it feels a lot more like a regular pull start, which I don't really care, but that's just what it feels like. It has the two switches for the on-off and the choke and half choke and throttle lock and everything, which I don't particularly like, but it works. It has a chain brake, of course, and one other thing I don't particularly like on this is that the gas and oil caps are kind of hard to undo by hand because there's a O-ring in there as a seal, so you got to get some pliers on there or some really strong hands, and then it opens up. The Stihl, there's a screwdriver slot in there, but also these nice knurlings make it really easy to undo the cap. And one other gripe about the Husqvarna is that this may seem trivial, but it adds up over time, especially if you're running the saw barehanded without any gloves or anything. The trigger doesn't depress all the way into the handle, and it also has a very strong spring behind it. So running it constantly like that, it almost makes the middle part of your finger a little bit numb. But the Stihl, on the other hand, has a thinner trigger and a lighter spring, and you don't feel it as much. The Stihl also features a quick toolless chain tensioning system, which can be a little problematic at times, but it is nice when you're out in the field and you don't have your tools with you. And the Husqvarna has the standard 2 nuts and a screw. So I'll do a test cut of both of these saws for you. Oh, and by the way, the Husqvarna is a 40cc, and like I said, that's a 32cc. So they're pretty comparable saws. And one other thing, actually, on the Husqvarna, it has no felling spikes, but the Stihl does. I really like these spikes. Even though these are kind of small and wimpy, it really helps to just dog into a wood and just kind of lever the saw through. It's a lot easier on you over time, if you're cutting for a long period of time. I suppose they probably sell the spikes separately. I don't know. I haven't looked. But I'll do a cold start on both these. They both sat for about the same period of time. They both run very well. So I'll do a cold start and a test cut, 1 or 2 cuts for each saw, and I'll show you how they run. Well, there you have it. There's the two saws, cold starts. You might have noticed that I had some trouble starting the Stihl. Kind of made a liar out of me. This switch here is a little messed up. So I started unchoke, went to half choke, and when it fired on half choke, somehow it went back down to choke when I must have hit it or pulled the trigger wrong. So that's why it stalled out and it took a couple more pulls. Stihls are a little fussy when it comes to the starting procedure, so I've heard. So we recorded a couple more pulls, so unfortunately the cold starting aspect wasn't a perfect test, but they do start relatively similar. Couple, 2-3 pulls on choke, 2-3 pulls on half choke, and they run. I noticed the Husqvarna had a little more vibration when I was running it, but it did cut a little quicker. They cut a little straighter. I don't know why. They're both new chains. Maybe I wasn't holding the Stihl straight. I'm not sure. And I don't know if you could hear it, but the Stihl was definitely lugging a little bit. Those extra 8 cc's really gave the Husqvarna a little edge. Even without the bucking spikes, this went through the went through the wood pretty well. And this is cedar wood, by the way, pretty dry cedar. And I actually opened up the muffler on the Stihl a little bit. I took out the spark screen, and behind this plate there's some holes in a baffle. I drilled the holes out just a little bit oversized. And then I opened these slots up with a screwdriver so it flows a little better. But even so, that small modification didn't really do much to, it doesn't give it 8 cc's more displacement. But I did it just for the hell of it. Spark screen was all clogged up anyway. So there you have it. I hope you enjoyed. And come back for more. So long for now.